Weather meteorologist Pamela Gardner is here at the anchor desk with us. You saw that video around the state and around the country. Wildfire's just a real problem right now.
It really is. Bad weather in general, and here we're dealing with those brush fires. It is really unbelievable.
Yes, and it's really making it tough to breathe in some communities this morning. Danvers, Topsfield getting reports there that it's like a fog covering the areas, and that's due to the wildfire smoke. And the reason we have that really thick at the surface and inversion in the air. So I'll show you the explainer on that in just a minute. Talked a little bit about it a few moments ago. We continue to have a brush fire risk for the day today, too, with the dry leaves and underbrush, the dry soils combined with the very low humidity levels and a very light breeze. Now, it's not as gusty or as critical with a wildfire spread like what we had early or late last week, but it's still around. It's still very dry, and we're still in this autumn feel with very, very dry air in place. So the air quality is at least moderate for sensitive groups, and you can scan our QR code, download our weather app, see if we have any rain in the forecast and track it along with us. Unfortunately, we don't have any rain in the forecast to help settle things down. So what we have going on is we have warm air during the daytime and the heat rises, and then we have cooler air aloft. Well, the opposite occurs overnight. And what we had occurring last night, like what we had last week, one day, we have the ground surface that cools very efficiently. And so with that cooler air, we see the sinking air, warmer air happens to be right above. And this produces a cap. It traps the smoke right underneath, and that's why we smell it, and that's why there is literally a fog out there across parts of the North Shore as well as Essex County. Want to limit your time outdoors especially if you have any respiratory ailments, but even if you don't, it's going to affect your breathing. Temperatures right now in the 20s, and that's where we have some cold air also across parts of the North Shore and Essex County there where we have the smoke. Later today, it mixes out, so I expect by 2 p.m., by 3 p.m., the air quality does improve as we see a south wind and the land heats up and the inversion is gone by the afternoon. We're 52 degrees for Boston's high. Lots of clouds around today, though, and tonight's lows won't be quite as chilly as what we had last night. In fact, a warming trend continues into Election Day with Tuesday's highs topping off in the low 70s, but we don't stop there. Wednesday, we could approach record territory with mid to upper 70s. So even though we had this cold snap as advertised last week, we're going to get right back to some of this little bit of summer weather before another cool down going into the weekend. So it's interesting to note if you happen to have Tuesday, Wednesday off, great, beautiful days, 60s to 50s then as we take a tumble into this next weekend.
Yeah. All right. So
moving on
to this early sunrise and early sunset, Pamela.
Yeah, I like the early sunrise. Don't like the early sunset time. Everyone's confused. Kids are confused. They got up at 4:30, I heard, this morning yet again. So sorry, honey at home. We have, yes, a very early sunset time yet again tonight. So 4:33, we're getting used to these darker evenings. 4:11 is going to be the worst, December 3rd. So one of our earliest sunset times here in Boston. But then it's smooth sailing after that. So we are here. We have surpassed the peak of losing daylight each and every day. November to December kind of evens out a little bit. We don't lose as much daylight each and every day, but once we go until the solstice here in December, then we slowly start to gain daylight. So we're close to that. December temperatures, that's what it feels like this morning, though, as lows dropped into the 20s. It's 22 right now in Bedford, 39 degrees in Worcester, 27 degrees across Plymouth. You'll want that winter coat as you head out the door. As highs today slowly get into the low 50s. It's going to be a cloudy afternoon for us, but that south wind is going to be key, and overnight lows won't be quite as low as what we have right now. 47 tonight in Boston, 44 Natick, Lowell 44. But we don't stop there. More warm temps are on the way. Here comes another big warm up on Tuesday. Election Day 71. More 70s once you go across Fitchburg, across Natick as well, and even the Cape and the Islands were at least in the 60s. A gusty southwest wind also means that the next few days, including today, we still have an elevated wildfire risk since it is so awfully dry. Typically, when we see big changes with the air masses and the weather pattern. We see rain chances in between, but that's not the case. Today we see the clouds indicating the wind direction change, but no rain in the forecast until perhaps Wednesday. A sprinkle or two, but not before we experience these beautiful highs. Near record daily high temperatures expected as the warm air moves in from the south and west, and we have a cold front approaching from the north and west. And that's why we have the chance for a few showers, but unfortunately they fizzle out as soon as they get towards Boston, so only a sprinkle to contend with Wednesday late day into Wednesday and Thursday. So Thursday, colder air funnels in. We get a wind direction change yet again, but it's not going to be too cold. It's going to be a slow, gradual transition towards the end of the week. And I want to give you a heads up here. We have potential tropical cyclone 18. So this expected to become a tropical storm and then a hurricane moving into the Gulf at some point by the end of this week into this weekend. We'll monitor that. That will be named Raphael. So as we go through the list, we are still in hurricane season for the Atlantic. It goes until technically November 30th. Here in our 10-day, we keep it quiet. There's that gradual cool down, 50s by this weekend.